Well, new details at 5:30. Let's paint this picture for you. The streets of downtown Fort Myers, as you can see, flood during hurricanes. That's because the Caloosahatchee floods easily from storm surge. Tonight, the city is trying to stop this overflow. Wait News anchor Annette Montgomery is live from Riverside Drive, right next to the Caloosahatchee. And Annette, how are city leaders going to tackle this problem?
Well, Chris and Lois, in two ways, in the form of short-term and long-term solutions. For short-term solutions, they suggested temporary barriers that each business can remove and backflow filters for Dean Park to prevent flooding. Now, for long-term, they did suggest raising the seawall, but keep in mind they did refer to that as long-term because it could take up to a decade before we see that happen.
Flooding from the Caloosahatchee River is not a short-term problem. So Fort Myers city leaders knows it will take time to fix it.
We're just now, almost a little more than 2 years later, are back open again, and these places are finally habitable.
Hurricane Ian was not nice to areas surrounding the Caloosahatchee.
And our first floor throughout pretty much the whole complex was wiped out.
But the issues with the river flooding spans back way before 2 years, which is why the long-term solution like raising the seawall will take years before it comes to fruition.
For the two main seawall elevation projects, those do look like they will be recommended to FEMA, and based on where they are with the county's priority list, it does look like they're likely to be funded. So that's about $31 million of potential seawall elevation funding.
Funding that's needed, but with all of the environmental studies, permitting, and design and construction, it could take 5 to 10 years to see those changes.
If there's things that we can do to mitigate that, I think, we should do whatever we can.
And that's a plea homeowners, business owners, and property owners like Michael Griffin are asking for, something to be done now. So the city is also looking at some short-term fixes.
There's two things we looked at. One is the kind of the individualized solutions, and then we've got the regional, what I'll call regional solution, or area barriers to block it off to provide a second line of defense.
And we're showing you that Caloosahatchee River now, and we're going to show you the seawall. The city did propose elevating the seawall from Billy's Creek to Edison Ford Winter Estates, which cost $31 million. And then from the Edison Winter Ford Estates to the Midpoint Bridge. And again, that'll be a total of $31 million in grant funding. They're hopeful they'll get it, but concerns were raised about the elevation of certain areas. Now, City Council did opt to discuss that at a later date. Live from Fort Myers, Annette Montgomery, Wink News.